Charli Baltimore breaks her silence, Biggie's final words, a toxic love triangle, and the shadow of a setup. In the world of hip-hop, the mythology surrounding the deaths of Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G. has become a defining chapter in music history. With conspiracies, betrayals, East Coast versus West Coast drama, and the looming influence of powerful moguls, these stories have transcended music and entered urban folklore. But what happens when someone close to the late Christopher Wallace, better known as Biggie, finally decides to speak? Charli Baltimore, the fiery, red-haired rapper who once had a passionate romance with Biggie, has broken her silence in a recent interview. Her revelations about his final days, their relationship, and the potential duplicity of those around them, including Sean Diddy Combs and Faith Evans, have reignited old conversations with a new sense of urgency. According to Charli, Biggie didn't just die in a random act of violence. There were signs, whispers, and final words that pointed to deeper betrayals and orchestrated moves behind the scenes. A love torn, apart by fame, ego, and manipulation. Charli Baltimore met Biggie during a tumultuous time in both of their lives. Already married to Faith Evans and embroiled in the infamous East Coast-West Coast beef, Biggie was at the center of a media storm. But Charli wasn't just a fling. She was a fixture in his life, one of the few women who understood both the man and the myth. "I wasn't his wife. I wasn't the one in all the pictures. But I knew the real him," Charli explained in her interview with The Art of Dialogue. Big was complicated, vulnerable. He was battling so much pressure, being a father, an artist, and dealing with all these people pulling him in different directions. The relationship was intense, often turbulent. Charli was aware of Biggie's dalliances and the constant specter of Faith Evans, but she stayed. That loyalty, she says, was reciprocated until the very end, and it's those final moments that are now coming under fresh scrutiny. The night of the fight, when love turned to rage. In what would be their last encounter, Charli and Biggie had a blowout fight in Los Angeles. According to her, the argument erupted after she discovered compromising photos of Biggie with another woman, photos she alleges were strategically placed to provoke her. It wasn't just about him cheating, it was the way it was done. Like someone wanted me to see it, to snap, to create distance between us, she said. Fueled by rage and betrayal, Charli destroyed several expensive items Biggie had given her, including a watch Diddy had custom-made. She even threw it into the pool. That watch wasn't just jewelry, it was a symbol of control, she said. Diddy gave it to Big to give to me. It was like he owned us both. It was after this fight that Biggie reportedly tried to call her, over and over, but she didn't answer. She was still too hurt. The last voicemail he left me, he sounded broken. He said, "I ain't got nobody left, Char. Everybody fake around me." She paused during the interview, visibly emotional. Those might have been the last words he ever said to anyone close to him who really loved him for him. Diddy's role, protector or puppet master. Charli's interview delves deeper than just a relationship post-mortem, as she suggests that Biggie was beginning to feel isolated, even manipulated by those in his inner circle, especially Sean Diddy Combs. "Big told me he felt like a pawn sometimes," she said. Diddy had him doing shows he didn't want to do, putting him in situations he didn't feel safe in. She referenced the fateful trip to Los Angeles, which Biggie allegedly didn't want to take. According to Charli, he felt the city was too dangerous in the wake of Tupac's death. He kept saying, "This ain't smart, this don't feel right." But Diddy insisted. There was pressure to promote the album, keep the bad boy machine running. Diddy has long denied any knowledge or involvement in Biggie's death, but Charli's words have added fuel to an already raging fire of suspicion. "I'm not saying Diddy pulled a trigger," she clarified, "but he knew Big wasn't safe, and he kept pushing anyway." Faith Evans, wife, widow, and question mark. No discussion of Biggie's final days is complete without mentioning Faith Evans, his wife at the time of his death. Their marriage had been strained not just by infidelity, but by constant industry meddling. Charli makes it clear that while she and Faith were rivals in love, she harbors more confusion than hatred. "I don't know what her role really was, but something was off. I always felt like she was being used as a distraction, kept close to Big so other people could control him better. In the days leading up to his death, Biggie was reportedly trying to reconcile with various people in his life, including Faith, but Charli doubts the sincerity of those around him. Everybody suddenly wanted to be in his good graces. It was like they knew something was about to happen. She even hints that Faith may have been manipulated by higher powers. Maybe she didn't know what was really going down, or maybe she did and didn't have a choice. The setup theory. Did Biggie know too much? Perhaps the most explosive part of Charli Baltimore's interview is her suggestion that Biggie may have been silenced not just by street violence, but by orchestrated betrayal. He was starting to talk more about what happened to Pac, she revealed. He didn't believe the official stories. He was asking questions. And I think that made people nervous. Biggie, Charli says, had been connecting dots, noticing patterns. He had begun questioning the circumstances around Tupac's death and wondering if there was a bigger game at play. I think Big was getting too smart, too vocal. And in this industry, when you stop playing the puppet, you become a threat. When asked point blank if she believes Biggie was set up, Charli hesitated. I can't say for sure, but what I do know is he was scared. He was surrounded by people he didn't trust, and he died in a city he didn't want to be in, doing a show he didn't want to do. Aftermath and legacy. The ghost that won't rest. Since Biggie's death, Charli Baltimore's career has seen highs and lows. She's released music, stepped away from the spotlight, and dealt with personal tragedies, but one thing has remained constant: her loyalty to the man she once loved. I don't care about fame. I don't care about clicks. I'm talking now because it's time, she said. Big's name is used every day. His face is on murals, his voice is in commercials, but nobody's telling the truth about how he died. And the people who do know, they're still eating off his legacy. She also criticized the industry's selective memory. People act like he was this larger-than-life figure who couldn't be touched. But Big was human. He had fears, doubts, people he didn't trust. And those people are still powerful. A call for closure. Charli Baltimore's interview is more than just a tell-all. It's a plea for justice, or at the very least, acknowledgement. There are people walking around free, rich, and praised, while Biggie is in the ground. That ain't right, she said. I'm not asking for revenge. I'm asking for truth. Fans and critics alike have reacted strongly to Charli's revelations. Some applaud her bravery, others question the timing. But one thing is clear: her words have reignited a conversation that refuses to die. And as more of Biggie's inner circle begin to break their silence, we may finally get closer to understanding the complex web of loyalty, betrayal, and ambition that surrounded one of hip-hop's greatest icons. Until then, Charli Baltimore remains a haunted witness, holding on to the last voicemail of a man who saw his end coming. A man who said, in his final words to her, "I ain't got nobody left, Char. Everybody fake around me,